you see an AR in a word, it is almost always going to say R. And it can come at the beginning or in the middle or in the end of a word, such as art, it's at the beginning, car, it's at the end, harbor, it's in the middle. AR will almost always say R. Not quite always. It does have an unaccented sound which says but that's quite rare. AR will almost always say R. So when you see that in a word, recognize that that R is controlling the sound of the A. This is called R-controlled vowels. Any vowel that has an R after it, that R is going to control the sound and change the sound of that vowel. So today we're going to recognize AR as saying R. That A is going to say ah because that R is after it. We've also learned that ER, IR, and UR all say They all just make the R sound. And we've learned that OR says or most of the time. And it can be at the beginning and middle, like or cord, or it can be at the end of short words like for, but. When it's at the end of longer words, it'll say It'll make that unaccented sound and say but that's quite rare. So today we're going to focus on the most common sounds of AR is R and OR is or. So that's what we're going to be reading today, for the most part. I'll warn you when it's different. So let me share my screen. Nope. Whoops, hello again. Let me try that again. All right. All right, so number 1. Get my annotator ready. So this C is going to make its hard sound and say k, which is most of the time rule, and I mean most of the time. 23 out of 26 times C will say k. I'll teach you when it's not. That lesson is in August. OR says or. That's what we're learning to recognize, that's an R-controlled vowel. Any vowel that has an R after it, that R is going to control and probably change the sound of that vowel. I says I. We know that because of the tap 2 rule. When a vowel has two consonants after it, it usually makes it short sound and says I. So we have k. I'm going to pronounce this. I'm trying to think. In spelling class, we had just now, we had O and as 2 different sounds. However, in reading class, we're going to train our brain to recognize that as a unit. It's really essential that we do that. So I'm going to say or, even though this, okay, that it's 2 sounds, O and We're going to count, okay, I just changed my mind again. We're going to count the both sounds. But I'm going to underline it so that you can recognize it as a unit, but I'm going to count both sounds. I just have to. So it's k, o, t, I, core-tipped. Core-tipped. Do you want to know a fun fact? Any real word that ends with a PT is a Greek word. We get it from the Greek language. Core-tipped. All right, so I'm going to underline this, but I want you to dot each sound. So go ahead and try reading this word on your own. Yeah, Addison, good. All right, so we recognize this OR as saying or. This I is going to say I because of the tap 2 rule. There are 2 consonants after it, which makes it make its short sound. So each sound is P, O, F, I, M, P. Porfimp. 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 I have a feeling you got that one right or pretty close. All right, so this G is a soft G. We know that because the next letter is an E, I, or Y. That forces a C or a G to make their soft sound. When the very next letter is an E, I, or Y, we read C as S and G as J. S and J are the soft sounds. Those occur 3 out of 26 times. So rare, but it does happen. So we have a J here. And here's an IR that I'm going to underline once. And this one only gets one dot because it makes one sound. That I isn't making any sound. ER, IR, and UR, they all just say You only hear the R, so it only gets one dot here. This O is saying aw, making it short sound because there are 2 consonants after it. Y at the end of a longer word usually says E. So our sounds J, T, Ah, P, E, Jur, Jert, Jertaw, Jertom, Jertomp, Jertompy, Jertompy. Now, if you'll notice, you also have a soft C over here because there is an I after it. So it's going to say S. So go ahead and try your word on your own. So we have that soft C that's saying S. This IR is saying Then we have this I that's saying I because of the tap 2 rule. And then Y at the end of a multi-syllable word usually says E. Now, here's something that I want you to focus on and pay attention to for just a second. This I has 2 consonants after it. This I has 2 consonants after it. Yet they say 2 different things. This one breaks the tap 2 rule. So here's what you have to know. R-controlled vowels trump the tap 2 rule. They have more power than the tap 2 rule. Okay? So if you have an R-controlled vowel, the tap 2 rule no longer applies. That's why this can say this IR says and this I can say I. Even though they both have 2 consonants after it, R-controlled vowels are more powerful than the tap 2 rule. So this soft C is saying S. We have IR that says This I says I because there are 2 consonants after it. Y at the end of a multi-syllable word usually says E. So we have S, Sir, Serp, Serpi, Serpis, Serpist, Serpisty, Serpisty. Would you please let me know, out of the first 2 that we've done so far, how many have you gotten correct without me? Did you get Porfimp and Serpisty without me? Y, yes, or A, almost? Or how many? 1 out of 2, 2 out of 2, 0 out of 2? Okay, nice. Okay. Thank you. That helps. And if you got 0 out of 2, you're not alone in the chat. If you got 1 out of 2, you're not alone in the chat. And if you got 2 out of 2, you're not alone in the chat. All right. A lot fewer people got these correct than I anticipated. So I'm not sure I want to go to this harder one yet. I'm going to go to number 4 first. So we're skipping number 3 for now, okay? I want to warm you up a little bit more. So this AR is going to say R, right? 2 sounds, ah, That A is being controlled by the R. This E is going to make its short vowel and say eh because of the tap 2 rule. Same with this I, it will say I. I. So we have P, ah, S, N, T, I, Pa, par, parse, parse, parsen, parcent, parcenti, parcentim. Now go ahead and try yours over here. Okay. I'll give you another second here. So we have this S that's making the same sound as that soft C up there. AR says R, two different sounds, ah, This E is saying its short sound because there are two consonants after it. There's not a vowel there or there. This I also follows the tap 2 rule and says its short sound I because there's not a vowel there or there. So we have S, A, T, M, P, I, T. One sound at a time, successive blending. Sa, Sar, Sart, Sarte, Sartem, Sartemp, Sartempi, Sartempit, Sartempit. If your word sounded just like mine, Sartempit, please put a Y in the chat or an A for almost. Y for yes, A or almost. Sartempit. Oh, I saw somebody just changed it from an A to a Y. Good. All right, a lot more yeses. That's good. So now I feel a little more comfortable going to number 3. Here we have that OR at the end. I'm going to jump straight to it because OR at the end of a multi-syllable word, I've only said this once or twice, so I'm going to remind you because I don't expect it to stick with just hearing it once or twice. OR at the end of a longer word, a multi-syllable word, it's unaccented. Because when you have a multi-syllable word, we almost always accent one of the first syllables, almost never the last one. So when OR is not accented, when it's at the end of a longer word, it makes its unaccented sound, which, my lines, which sounds like I don't know why I haven't mastered drawing with a mouse yet. It's been a couple of years. I should be a lot better at that. So OR at the end of a multi-syllable word usually says Now going back to the other vowels here, we have an E because of the tap 2 rule. We have an I because of the confident rule. So if you were here in I month, you'll know what the confident rule is. If you weren't, I'll tell you. When I is the middle vowel, when it's somewhere in the middle, when there's a vowel before it that doesn't touch it and a vowel after it that doesn't touch it, that I gets to say I regardless of the tap 2 rule. It breaks the tap 2 rule. It's another rule breaker. So I in the middle syllable gets to say I, even if there aren't two consonants after it. This A follows the tap 2 rule. It's going to say A because there's a vowel 1 or 2 doors down. It makes it say its name. OR at the end of a multi-syllable word says most of the time. So we have S, E, N, T, I, M, A, T, Hard one, so I'm going to go nice and slow. Se, sen, sent, sente, sentim, centime, centimate, centimeter. You got it, didn't you? You got that with me, didn't you? Centimeter. Good. Try yours. Remember, OR at the end of a longer word usually says And remember, I in the middle syllable says I. Take your time. I feel like this should be a real word. I like this word. Sounds like a combination of a few things. All right, so this E is going to say eh. It follows the tap 2 rule. There are 2 consonants after it, so it will make its short sound. This I makes it short sound because of a different reason. It's in the middle syllable. A will make its long sound if one of the next 2 letters is another vowel. That's also the tap 2 rule. And OR at the end of a longer word says most of the time. So we have B, E, S, T, I, G, A, T, One sound. The ER makes one sound. OR, when it says or, makes 2 sounds. But when it says it's only one sound. So it only gets 1 dot. We dot sounds, not letters. Remember, we read sounds, not letters. It's all about the sounds. So we have be, best, best, besti, bestig, bestigay, bestigate, bestigator, bestigator. Did you get that Y or A? I can now hear the word when I sound it out better for letter. Letter for letter. Oh, yay! That's great news. Thank you for sharing that. All right, lots of Y's in this one. Yay, Monica! Nice. Not even close. I bet you were closer than you think. Because I know you, I bet you were closer than you think. All right, bestigator. I feel like that is a combination of alligator, investigation, investigator, and the best of something. That's gotta be a real word. I like it. All right, we have 3 minutes here. If you'd like for me to do a extra practice word with you, go ahead and put the number that you want in the chat. Probably only have time to do one, but let's see which one you want. All right, we're getting number 10. We got lots of numbers, but number 10 was first. The words are getting more and more easier for me. I get them all by myself. That's right, you do. That's right, you do. Congratulations, and thank you for your email that you sent. That's such good news. Okay, number 10. So we have this E that's making its short sound, eh. I that's making its short sound, I. UR that's saying you don't even hear the U. I that says I. Now you try this one on your own, and then I'll come in after and read it with you. Hopefully you can see that. I know it's low on my screen. I think I'm going to raise it a little bit. It means I'll have to clear the marks, but there's number 10, a little easier to see. All right, so if we have an an I, an and an I here, the rest of our sounds are s, t, I, t, I, p. It's important to do so that your brain keeps everything nice and organized, and your brain knows that it knows what each sound is, and it's not going to have to guess. We're not going back to those old guessing patterns. So now we're going to grab just one sound at a time. He, hes, hest, heste, hestim, hestimer, hestimert, hestimerte, hestimertim, hestimertimp, hestimertimp. How did you do? You have to let me know. Was that a Y or an A? Hestimertimp. I'm going to celebrate for every single for every single Y and the A's. Hestimertimp. Wow. You got hestimertimp, or you got close. You probably got closer than you think. That is A-ish. That is applaudable, you guys. Look at that word. Look at that word that you just read. When you first saw it, you might have panicked just a little bit. So a lot of you put 10 in the chat, like, please do 10. Your mind might have thought, I can't do that. However, you just did it. You just did it and you got it. Or you got very close, and when I read it, then you got it. That's amazing. That's amazing. You're amazing. I'm so excited for your new knowledge. Now you know that R controls vowels. It controls every vowel that comes before it. When you come next time, we're going to learn what those W's are going to do. W's affect the vowel before it and the vowel after it. A lot of people call them bossy W, but we are not going to let them boss us around. We're going to take control of those W's and make them make a lot more sense. All right, my friends, have a great night. We'll see you Wednesday. Bye, everybody.